Hi everyone and welcome back. I'm Diane and on my channel we do fun and interesting art together. Today we're going to paint a landscape with houses in a whimsical style inspired by my explorations on Craftsy, who are our sponsors today. More about them shortly. Now, to paraphrase Mrs. Bennet's opinion in Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, it is a truth universally acknowledged that an artist in possession of brushes, paint and paper must be in want of a subject. And this is where Craftsy comes in, because a dip into their extensive catalogue before starting a painting session is bound to come up with some great ideas. Like many people who enjoy art as a hobby, I also love other crafts, and that's why, for me, Craftsy is an ideal fit. Craftsy is packed full of classes in over 20 popular categories, many of which I personally am not only interested in, but have enjoyed learning about. You can choose from subjects including everything from art to yoga, knitting to weaving, and gardening, jewellery making, cake decorating, and of course cooking, and many more, are all there for you to learn and create from. Craftsy instructors are all highly skilled experts in their fields, and the video lessons you'll find on Craftsy are professionally produced and easy and enjoyable to watch. I love starting my day with a dip into Craftsy offerings, which gets me off on the right foot to have a productive and creative day. Today I've been watching three great creators. Bruce Weinstein, who is a chef turned knitter and who has shown me how to knit faster. He's clear and detailed and full of love for his subject. Next, I visited with Stephen Reddy, who is helping me develop my sketchbook habit with his expertise in pen and ink drawing based on 35 years of keeping a sketchbook. And thirdly, for today, Shari Blaukop is giving me momentum for lovely, loose landscape paintings. Craftsy is the best online resource for all things creative, and if you're tempted by this offer, click on the link in the video description to get a full year's membership for just $1.49. As well as the video lessons, Craftsy offers lives and a community where fellow makers can connect with one another. So what's not to love about Craftsy? Click on the link below to explore what's on offer and join up to start your day the Craftsy way, just like me. So this idea came out of a video by Mia Whitmore, and I've done this preparatory sketch and we're going to get started now. So I'll just put these ones away. You'll probably recognize some of these from before, but here's the sketch which I will provide to you as a downloadable sketch that you'll be able to use. And we're going to paint that now. So I'll just move this out of the way and put this down here. I'm using this palette to paint with today. This is my Michael Harding colours. And what I've got is actually the Michael Harding botanical set. And I've got most of the colours laid out here so that I can just pick and choose as I go along. And I've also got a few Holbein colours here as well, for example, shell pink and so on. And I'll list them all in the description below if you're interested in them, and I will mention them as I go along by name. And I'm going to be painting on a sheet of hot press watercolour paper. This is Meaden hot press paper. And I'm going to be using these brushes here. I've got 3 rounds, a size 5, a size 7 and a size 9. These ones happen to be Drawell from Japan, which I get direct from Japan. Information in the description below, but you could just as easily use any make. I like these ones because they have a reasonable amount of spring in the hairs and they do come to a nice point. And I've been using that particular brand for a long, long time, so that's good reason to stick with them. And later, towards the end, when I come to the end of the painting, after we've done the colouring in bit, I'm going to use a Tombow calligraphy pen. It's one of those brush pens that goes thick and thin, depending on how hard you press. So we'll do our line work with that. So I think that's everything. You might not have one of those. You can just use any fine liner instead, or else you could even do it with a brush if you felt that way inclined. Now, on this drawing here, which we will have available as a downloadable sketch on the website, and we'll put the the video up on Patreon as well, so you'll be able to do one-click download of your sketches there, ultimately. What I'm going to do is what I like to call a sort of reverse colouring book page. So I'm going to put colour on this piece of paper, and then I'm going to draw the lines in afterwards. So that's a technique that I've been doing recently. Haven't been doing so much of it lately. Haven't been doing much whimsical lately either, but now we are going to be doing some. And let's remember our piece of towel to dab our brush off on. And we'll put that there, actually, push out the brushes out of the way. And we'll use the biggest one, I think, at the moment. I'm going to start by putting in a sky. So we'll go for some blue. Now, when I paint in this big palette like this, most of my colours tend to be a little bit mixed up with one another. And I tend to do that because I prefer my colours to be mixed. So let's just whack some blue in. The problem with living in a house with animals is that whatever you start to do, you're going to find hairs, either cat or dog or sheep or you. There'll be hairs. And anyway, so I've got some leaves here, and it doesn't matter if I paint over them a bit, but I'm going to kind of leave them a little bit unpainted and just go around them with blue. And it doesn't matter if the blue varies, and it doesn't matter if there is a back run or anything like that anywhere, doesn't matter. This hot press paper is bound to show brush marks and so on, and that's part of the character of it. And I'm just drawing around the bird with the brush, leaving him or her, it looks like a girl, that one, very lightly with the blue. And you know, there are days, aren't there, where you feel like you can't think of any words. I think today's one of those, so you're going to have to bear with me. Yeah, we can't always be perfect, can we? Ha, very funny. Yes. So we're just putting in, I know it looks like nothing on earth, but remember this is a reverse colouring page. Doesn't matter what it looks like at this point. And we just keep going all the way around all of the houses, going right around the houses and the leaves and everything. And you'll see what happens later when we get there. So we've got some nice folk art inspired birds there. Thank you, Oriole. Do you appreciate what I'm doing? Of course you don't. What are you complaining about now? Oh dear. What's the matter? I don't know. He's always got something on his mind. Okay, so there's the sky. And the next thing that we're going to do, I think, probably is... What? You're very distracting. Stop it. Go to sleep. You're a cat. You're supposed to sleep 24 hours a day. Or 23. Okay, so let's paint the roofs to the houses. Turn this round to go to the reds and the browns. And let's just kind of... I don't know what's the matter with him today. We've got a darker brown somewhere. Where it is? Oh, it's over here. Right. So we'll put a bit of that in. We can say, okay, the light's coming from the right-hand side because, as you know, all good landscape painters know which direction the light's coming from. That's meant to be a joke. Well, not a joke, just silly. So we're painting in the roofs, nice and loose. I think this next one is going to be greenish, like in France where you get these copper roofs, which are green. Not that green. This green. Well, whatever. Never mind. This roof has got a cat on it. And then this next one, what colour shall we do the last one? Shall we go orange? Why not? The good thing about painting is that you can invent a kind of fantasy world where everything is the way you want it to be, not the way it actually is. And I think it'd be nice to have a world where the roofs were orange and green, not grey like they are here. When we lived in Canada, in Canmore, in the Rockies, there were houses there that had red metal roofs, and they were really fun. Okay, so that's the roofs, and different things we can do. We could go to the leaves, we could go to the mattresses. Let's go to the leaves and do some, let's keep with nature a little bit, but not completely, and mix up some greens. And we'll keep them quite strong. We just put them in nice and loose. And some stems. And I've got some really dark greens over here. And these are meant to be flowers, so we'll just keep the green up here a little bit. This very dark green's nice. And then we can mix that with some of this green gold, which is also lovely. And this is sap green light. And we come with some sap green light over here. And the green gold. Let's put some, this is called aqua green, that one. Just lots of shades of green. Okay, and then let's put some flowers. I don't know what colour to do, but flowers tend to be red, pink, often, don't they? So this is where we can paint over the blue. So all those white lines that we left, all those spaces, because we were doing a quick job, we can go over the top, fill those all in. This one needs some more green there. And then we can join the stems. There we are. It's all nice and loose. You don't have to be in any way skilled to do this. This is ideal for people who are just starting out, or those of us who don't have as much fine motor control as we used to have. Okay, and let's go back to the orangey colour over here. Okay, that's good. And we will be coming in with our black a Tombow pen later to outline all of this, so details come later. And now the birds, and what colour are we going to do the birds? I'm thinking purple, one of them at least has got to be. This is quinacridone purple. And doesn't have to be the same colour all over, but I'll probably do the wing and the tail in that colour. And then maybe we'll go, no, we don't want red. Maybe we'll go to pink. This is shell pink from Holbein. And with any luck, we might get some nice, interesting mixtures here as the colour blends. And this one, let's do it in a lighter shade of mauve. We've mixed the shell pink with the purple. He doesn't normally do this. He doesn't normally sit there moaning. I don't know what his problem is. Okay, so the next thing to do is to paint the walls of the fronts of the houses. And I'm going to turn this round because I want to do the walls reasonably light colours. So I've got this, I've got a couple of options here. This is Jaune Brilliant from Holbein. And that's quite a nice pale beige colour. I think that could work quite well as a background colour. I've switched down to a size 7 round now, so I've got a little bit more control of the paintbrush. So we'll just pop this colour in everywhere here behind, around the windows and the window boxes and everything. So that's that colour that we can use. Then I've also got, this is the Daniel Smith, now I can't remember what that's called now. Who can tell me? It's their, it'll come to me. Shall I look it up or shall I just leave you hanging? Everybody knows it's, what is it called? What is it called? Everybody knows what this is called. Buff Titanium. She's the winner. Tamsin is the winner. Sitting in the corner knowing all the answers. Buff Titanium, that's it. I normally do these paintings without Tamsin in the room because she's always doing something in the garden or working hard elsewhere. But today we are under a lot of time pressure, so she's here in the studio with me. So we could get her to contribute, couldn't we? That might be difficult. Okay, so Buff Titanium, Jaune Brilliant, and this one here, this palest one, is Soft White. I remember what that's called. That's Soft White by Michael Harding. And I'm going to mix that with a little bit of green. So we've got a very pale green colour to do the back. Oh, this is lovely. Makes me want to paint the house, my own house. You can't do that here. You can't paint the outside of your house a colour, any other colour than beige, because neighbours would never speak to you again. No, that's not true. None of that is true, but you feel like it because all the houses are the same colour. Unlike in England. Okay, this is looking good. And the last one, I think we're going to do in a paler version of the roof colour. So we'll go for that soft white again and mix it with a little bit of, what's that called? Oh, quinacridone gold. There we are. So we make this one a nice golden. So when you use these opaque whites and you mix them with your watercolour, oddly enough, you will find that the result will be something not a million miles away from gouache. So you don't need to rush out and buy a whole bunch of gouache in order to achieve that look. You can just buy a tube of one of those colours that we've just mentioned, Daniel Smith's Buff Titanium or Jaune Brilliant from Holbein, which I had to buy just because the name was so interesting. It's a Japanese brand, Holbein, but for some reason they named that colour in French. I don't know, go figure, as they say in America. Am I allowed to say that? I'm English. Am I allowed to say something American? Right, so that's the backgrounds. That's good, isn't it? Then what we could do for some of the windows, for example, we could mix a little bit more of a darker brown, for example, in, and we could paint the interiors of the windows in those colours, in that colour. This building here it says fleur, right, on the front. It's a shop sign and it says flowers. But you'll notice that there are no flowers in the windows, and that's because the shop's closed down. Because this is a shop in France, and all the shops in France have closed down. All the flower shops have closed down, and this is one of them. So it still says fleur on the outside, but it's not open. So it's a touch of realism, you see. I think I'll do the door red as well. This is a very low door. It's low because it's a shop, a closed down shop in Brittany. And in Brittany, everybody is 5 foot tall, no taller, you see. So the doors don't have to be very high. When I bought this house, the back door was so low that I had to bend down to get out of it. And I'm only 5'3". And one of the most expensive things I had to do here, when we bought the house and had the renovations done to make it inhabitable, was to take a huge chunk of granite out of the top part of the door and make the door bigger. And it's now only tall people that have to bend down to get out. Oh, and we had to dig down as well. So we raised it as much as we could at the top and had to dig down at the bottom too. So the sign on this closed down shop is better be quite light, and we'll put some writing on top once it's dry. We'll outline that. So fleur. Okay, now this one. Shall we do these ones in light blue or something like that, maybe? You see, the advantage of this is, we were talking about being aphantasic or whatever it is. I can't even remember the word. Aphantasmagorical, unable to visualize things properly in your head. It's apparently a form of neurodivergence. I've always thought I was different from most people, and turns out I was right. So I'm not bothered by that though, because I am quite happy that my mind is mostly empty most of the time. And I've always said, and I don't know how many of you are like this, it'd be interesting to hear. I've always said I don't know what I think until I speak. Because people say, oh, my mind's always busy, occupied with thoughts and stuff. And I'm like, you're what? Not me. I don't have anything in my head until I open my mouth. And then I say something and I think, oh, that's what I think, is it? Now you're all going to think I'm completely bonkers. But sadly, it's true. That is the case. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. So this is my way of imagining, I guess. This is my way of imagining things. I actually have to pick up that. Maybe that's why, from an early age, I was compelled to pick up a pencil or something and do drawings and things, because I couldn't see pictures in my head like other people. Maybe that's what that's all about. It's possible, isn't it? Maybe the best artists are the ones that don't have visual imagery. There hasn't been any work done on this. Nobody knows. Nobody knows the answers to these questions because nobody has cared, because nobody knew it was happening. Nobody knew that half the planet, I bet there's far more people who have this situation of not being able to visualize things in very much detail. I think that those of the younger generation anyway are getting into that because of video games and so on. I think. I could be wrong, but I think, because years ago, do you remember the game Tetris? Years ago, we used to play that as a family, and we all used to compete. Tamsin always won. She was always better than everybody by a long way. But when I went to bed at night after having had a Tetris session, all I could see in my head was squares and L shapes and T shapes falling. And I realized fairly quickly that this was actually not a good thing. My brain would not go to sleep. And I have a feeling that there's more to that than meets the eye. I do. I'm just choosing colours at complete random here. I don't know what it's going to look like when it's done. We'll see. I'll do these ones in grey, I think. And as I'm going along here, I'm losing interest in being precise, so they're going to be a little bit more random. But I'm going to go over the whole thing with a pen anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so those ones are all grey. We mustn't forget about the foreground, must we? Where's my little practice one? What did I do? This was the one I did before. So we need some green in the foreground. Here, I think I'll just quickly swap back temporarily to a slightly larger brush and pick up some assorted and various greens. So we'll just keep well away from reality. We don't want anything to pretend to be real. So our greens are far from being natural. Okay, and then we will probably want some pavement. One thing always to remember when you're painting is to avoid mixing anything which is the colour of dried blood. This is always a bad idea, but it's surprising how easy it is to do. I just did it there, so I've gone over that. We'll make the little paths into this golden colour, I think. That's a nice thing about quinacridone gold. It tends to be nice and bright without looking too organic. Okay, we need this door here to be painted in blue. And now the last thing to paint before we I'll turn this round again so I can reach the greens more easily. Before we go to the line work is to put our potted plants in. Nice bright greens. I must admit I do like these Michael Harding colours. But you could just as easily do this painting using Kuretake or anything really. But if you've only got the traditional paints like Cotman or whatever, you don't get frustrated because your colours are less vibrant than this. They probably will be, to be honest, because those paints are a little bit less powerful, but you can still get some nice effects. We'll put red pots for the plants, I think. I always feel they look nice. Okay. And there's a pussycat sitting on the roof there. He thinks he's a chimney pot, obviously. What colour should we make him? I suppose brown. Light brown, and we should probably put some chimney pots. On here too. Okay, so various different things we could do now. We can continue to paint colour with the brushes, with the brush rather, not brushes. We can add some shadow underneath the roof line, like that. Just gives a little bit of three-dimensionality, should you wish such a thing. Could do that. We could paint in some tiles on the roof, in fact. You might not want to go over the whole thing. Just a little bit of texture there on that particular roof. You could, or you can leave them plain. We can come back to our trees and give them another layer. Of darker green. And we could go to our smallest paintbrush, number 5, and continue to work on everything really. For example, if we were to go up here to the flowers, I'm going to make sure it's dry. We can decorate them. This is cadmium red mixed with black. And then we could take some of that same black, mix it with some dark green, and we can put some veins into our leaves. Give the leaves a bit more shape. You can do this with the brush, or, as I said, you could do it with the pen, but you can do both because you can start off like this adding embellishments using the brush and colour, and then you could go, I mean, let's face it, you could do anything you want, but this is one way. You have to be careful that you don't make a mess like that. A bit more dark green. I'm going to put some floral arrangements along the sides of these paths. This is, honestly, this is the kind of painting that you could spend a very long time on. You don't have to rush it. You don't have to. So these paths reminds me of the paths we used to have outside the houses in England when I was a child. Everybody used to very carefully plant bedding plants and things to decorate their paths. Really rather sweet. There we are, so that will do for that. And then let's add some texture to the grass. Needs a bit of a cut. Okay, I'm going to put the hairdryer on that. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of pen work now. This is Tombow Fudenasuke pen, hard and soft. Just got a brush nib there, hard and soft. You can press hard, you can press soft. It's up to you. So I feel the birds are calling to me to have something done to them. So let's just go around the outside edge a little bit, give them a little bit more structure. And you can kind of just make it up as you go along. Let's give him a little eye. Flying nicely. There we are, and a little eye there. A little stroke here just to indicate movement. That's a kind of cartoon gesture that we can use, of course. And then if we come up to the leaves, just straightening out the lines with some nice firm lines. The paper is curling a little bit, it's a bit annoying. It's because I took it out of the block. It was in a block and I needed to, can't remember why now, but I did. I took it out of the block and that was, I want to put a white line there. Find my white pen. Or I could use, I wonder if a white pencil would work. Yeah, that can work too. That's kind of softer and a little bit less synthetic, so that's quite nice actually. I think this is it's an Inktense. So it's up to you. You don't need to use the black if you don't want to. You can just leave it as a plain old watercolor, or you can come in and do lots of details like that. As far as the houses are concerned, though, I think it's quite useful to draw in the windows. With a pen, you can use that pen, or you could use an ordinary fine liner. And we can make all the windows different. They've all had a window replacement job done, and they got a job lot. They didn't get the same ones. So now they've got a higgledy-piggledy arrangement. And if this was in France, chances are you'd have shutters on your windows, wouldn't you? You can use the fine liner to do sort of scribbly work into your plants if you want to make them look more shadowy in places. You can go around your plant pot. You can add some shadow to the inside of the house window like that. There's just so many things you can do. You can see why people get excited about urban sketching, because there are so many details and everything. There's some good videos on urban sketching on Craftsy that you might find interesting. Urban sketching, nature sketching, knitting. I've got to get on with my knitting. I've got a jumper I'm making from some wool that I spun from one of our sheep, and it was meant to be finished for this winter, and it's not. It'll be finished for next winter, hopefully. I'm a very slow knitter. Okay, so could have some roses growing up the wall here, couldn't we? That's house number 1. Go to this one. This is going to be a long video. This one has got flower boxes outside the windows, and I think it should have shutters too. These shutters are shut. But these ones are open. No flowers though. So the sign. Fleur. Okay, this is my favourite bit, the little pots. Don't you think they look good? So simple. And put some cobblestones on the path leading up to the house. Maybe it's got vertical pieces of wood. It's okay. A little bit of lineage down the side of the building like that. Okay. And this one, yeah. I quite like the roofs. I just want to add little tiny touches of dark in one or two little places, like at the angle there. Just a little touch here and there. And this one's nice and pale. Interestingly pale. Let's go to the thick one here for the door. Making this a doorway. Step. Let's put a step. And oh, we have this tree here. We forgot about this tree. Okay, and then the windows. Window sills. And this is a circular window. We have vertical windows, tall ones like that. Those are all shut. And these ones can be, they're shuttered, right? These ones aren't. Okay. And then this one, the cat is on the roof. There used to be a joke about that, the cat being on the roof. Yes, that's Oriole up there. And we just do some sketchy lines here. When I'm doing my sketchy lines, I do prefer them not to be in exactly the same place as the colour. Might go around the door. This is quite a slow process, isn't it? But we're getting there. You'll notice, if you're still with me, that the smooth paper, the hot press paper, is far, far, far better for using pen with than cold press paper, because cold press paper is rough and it will destroy your pen sooner or later. I'm just putting some grass around, weeds actually, because everywhere around here is covered in weeds. If it's not falling down, it's covered in weeds and being built over. It's like living in the third world. Okay, nearly there. This, I'm not quite sure what to do with that, actually. Okay, I'm going to say that is a shutter, which is closed. And these are also closed. We keep our shutters closed most of the time, especially upstairs. Keep the wind out, the rain, the snow, the sun. I think we're nearly there. This one needs a few angle lines. A few more weeds. Okay, well, let's give the cat some colour on his ears. Just emphasise his whiskers a little bit. And we could put a little bit of detail on the birds if we wanted to. I never did go over these ones here, these flowers, but you can imagine that for yourself because you haven't got a phantasmagoria like I have. I'm so lucky. Right, okay, there we are then. This is my fantasy street scene, another one. We did one before, we've done another one. This time, obviously, it's got a very dominant kind of frame with these flowers at the top here, which I think are quite interesting. And I'm quite pleased with that. Yes, I've enjoyed that. I hope you did too. I hope you give it a go. And don't forget, in the description below, you'll find the information for everything that I've mentioned, especially Craftsy, which I hope you'll give a try because, I mean, why not? It's $1.79, I think it is, for a whole entire year. I mean, what's not to like? Give it a go. And I will see you soon. So I'll say bye-bye for now, everybody, and have fun. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.